All right, welcome everybody. Okay, I got a timestamp on days like today. It's around almost noon, and the selling is accelerating at this point in time. Again, once things momentum starts going in one direction, that's what you're going to see, especially in conditions like we have now. We're going to go over some of the things that happened overnight, not just overnight, over the past couple days, and I'll be quite honest with you, based upon a lot of these stories, um, markets should be much lower. Markets should be much, much lower. I mean, you have Russia threatening to use tactical nukes to some degree, alluding to the fact that he might use tactical nukes. You have right now taking place in the Ukraine, you have a referendum in some of these Russian occupied areas. And if the election comes back, and again, it's in Russian occupied areas, of course, it's going to come back. They want to stay as a part of Russia. Vladimir Putin is basically saying that this is part of their Russian integrity. You can't broach that. What does that mean moving forward? Again, it's ugly in that situation at this point in time. Again, you want to understand the guy's 70 years old. A lot of his cronies around him are starting to disappear mysteriously. It's geopolitical concerns that we have. Now, some of the other things that have happened overnight. Inflation is bad as here. It's obviously much, much worse over in Europe, in certain countries over in Europe. The UK Central Bank of England, they raised rates. They raised rates over there. Same time, you've got the new Prime Minister Truss came in and said, you know what, we're cutting taxes. We are cutting taxes. She's a bit of a libertarian, which I like. But it sent the pound, it put the pound in basically free fall at this point. You got an absolute free fall in the pound. It's been decades. Last time I checked, you're talking about, 111 to the dollar. Again, long time since that's happened. Now, why? There's concern that, gee whiz, the UK has got their national health services. They got a lot of, big government programs, and the fact that they're going to have to issue a lot more debt in order to pay for these tax cuts. Truss is betting on the fact that she wants to work on supply and she wants to stimulate the economy. Again, you almost have two sides working against one another in this one. You like to see some cuts in government spending, but we don't see that really much of anywhere around the globe. Just doesn't happen. Euro right now is 97 cents plus to the dollar. Again, I haven't seen that number in a very long period of time. These are all issues because of this. Take a look. Multinational corporations sell stuff overseas, got to move that back to dollars. It's less money. Everyone's starting to freak out in regards to a recession and whether it's going to be a hard landing or soft landing, how it's going to affect earnings. Goldman Sachs analyst, who's consistently wrong. Anyway, he lowered his S&P expectations for 2022, where he sees it at the end of the year. Yada, yada, yada. One thing after another. So, quite frankly, I don't know where the markets are going to end up at the end of the day. But, they're sliding pretty heavy at this point in time. The VIX is up to close to 29 right now. So the volatility is coming back. I get to start to sniff around a bit of a capitulation type of a moment, possibly. We are. It's just that, the selling is kind of starting to exacerbate. You might start seeing it hit the wall. It gets that oversold spot, but there's just no good news out there. It's just a complete lack of buyers. So what does this mean? What does this mean for you as an investor, long-term investor? Really nothing. Mama said there'll be days like this. Yeah, there'll be days like this. There'll be markets like this. And to some of our younger listeners out there. You've got to come to the realization that you're going to be doing this many times throughout your entire life. It's the reality of the markets. What you have to hold onto, okay, what has to be your point of focus when it comes to your portfolio is the quality that you own. As we're working our way through this, and easy money going by the wayside, money is going to flow to quality. It is. Money is going to flow to quality. That's where it's going to go. And I've seen this movie again and again and again and again throughout my entire life, my entire career, in this business. Wasn't really paying much attention to this when I was a kid. But that's what you need to hold on to. And again, don't do stupid stuff. How many times have I said that throughout my career? I can't take this sun anymore. Come on. Yeah, the sun's going to come out tomorrow. Okay. The world's not going to end. Everything will be fine. You just got to get through today. And what I mean by today is the current period. Anyway. Yeah. Russians are fearing that, how Vladimir Putin said that he's bringing in 300,000 reservists. Many are not believing it over there. They think it's a full mobilization. Again, a lot of riots. You've got all sorts of issues, protests taking place over in Russia. The idea that they're just sending these kids out as cannon fodder. Again, desperate people do desperate things, and stuff that kind of makes me very, very nervous. The story, Wall Street Journal, war, inflation, knock world economy off balance. Yeah, it's knocked off balance. Okay, so what do you do? You focus on the fundamentals. You focus on quality. Companies are going to be able to deal with this. I was actually reading a story today. Google had a all hands on deck meeting with their CEO. It was answering questions from their workforce. And Google came out and said, "Hey, listen, we're cutting back on travel. We're going to be cutting back on a lot of the swag and whatnot." It's funny. You had some of the employees, we really need to do this. I mean, I'm saying to myself, you're really asking the CEO company, about stuff like this? And he got annoyed with many of the questions, which I was glad to see. Google's gotten too big. It's too many people working at that company. The bureaucracy's gotten too big. When you get big bureaucracies in whether it be, we know what bureaucracy is in government and how problematic that is. The same thing can hold true in businesses, and they need to cut back. I mean, the innovation that they have, the stuff that they're doing with quantum computing and whatnot, it's pretty neat stuff. But you need to have that lean, mean fighting machine type of attitude. And that's going to come back to American business. You're going to see, again, it's a bit of a wake-up call. A bit of a wake-up call for a lot of these Generation Y and Z people out there that, graduated from college and that were making six figures plus at some tech company. That's going to go away. And again, I've seen this before. It happened with Generation X. Happened with my generation during the whole .com run up. And everybody getting jobs in these startups, and I'm going to be rich. I tell you, rich. They sound like, was it Daffy Duck? I'm rich. No. I looked at a lot of these things, and I'm saying to myself, this is the same thing. I said, how do you afford these costs? Anyway. Quickly on this, the SEC advisory panel is recommending oversight of U.S. accounting rulemakers. Again, this is the left-wing lunatics now that are running the SEC. Their concern is in regards to some of the new taxes that have been put out in regards to corporations, and whether or not they are going to be politicized. We got to make sure, we got that 15% You got that minimum tax rate, and whether or not companies are going to be, playing or pulling off some shenanigans when it comes. I mean, people, you're going to make it difficult on business here in the United States. It's just a little refresher. When it comes to taxes, and you make the paperwork much too difficult, much too difficult. What are they going to do? They're just going to move. Okay. Whether you want to believe it or not, we're not the only game in town. And if you do recall, during the Obama administration, what do we have on a regular basis? Tax inversions. That's right. This is a big company getting acquired by a smaller company in Dublin or somewhere else, so they don't have to deal with this BS. Again, we don't need more regulations piled on top of more regulations. It's nonsensical. Get out of the way. Again, there's more than one way to deal with the problem at hand. Right? We deal with all this problematic inflation that we're all dealing with, and that's also dealing with the supply. The old phrase, go woke, stay broke, or go woke, go broke, or whatever, however it goes. Yeah. It's amazing to me. CalPERS, California Public Employees Retirement Plan, their entire system, they went woke. And you can take a look at the returns for CalPERS, and it's abysmal. Abysmal. You could get a monkey with darts and can do a better job than these wizards are smart over at CalPERS. But that's okay, because they're always going to parade the CalPERS people on CNBC and these other spots, even though they suck at their job. It's California. Yeah, I'm sorry. The people of California want to see a lower level of return so they can virtue signal and make themselves feel better about the companies that they're investing in. I mean, who am I to say? Okay, it's not my money. Not my money. John Kerry. John Kerry is, where is he? He's at, where is he? He's probably on some faraway place. Again, you got to hand it to Kerry, man. He gets all these jobs, and all he does is travel the world, goes on private jets, stays at fancy hotels, and attends parties. That's what he does. I mean, that's his job. He was at the International Energy Agency's Global Clean Energy Action Forum. EAGCEAF. Oh, come on. And he was talking about the Inflation Reduction Act, and he actually said, "Yeah, it's I'm not sure how much this has to do with inflation." Again, what did we tell you? It has nothing to do with inflation. It was just another handout to green concerns. Again, that's what Kerry is pushing for. But it doesn't bother. I guess it doesn't. I understood this. I got around this a long time ago. You become a politician. You work in Washington, D.C. 007's got the license to kill. You got a license to steal. License to steal. And what else? A license to lie. Say whatever you want. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They don't care. As long as you are pushing moving the football down the way you want the football to go, pushing your ideas, you can say whatever you want. You can lie, you could steal, you could cheat. They don't care. They don't care. I don't get that. Anyway, Republicans are now lining up against Joe Manchin's permitting reform bill. Like, hey, Joe, you stuck it to us. You stuck it to us pretty good with this Inflation Reduction Act, my friend. I guess we're going to stick it to you. And the reality is, there's a lot of good things in this permitting bill, but it basically is a bill for it's the West Virginia permitting bill. Pretty much what it is. It's pretty much the West Virginia permitting bill. Doesn't help really anybody else in any other states. Basically, just carve out for Joe Manchin, because Joe Manchin signed on to the Inflation Reduction Act. Again, throw it out. I don't care. I wouldn't. At this point in time, I'm sorry. Okay, you made your bed. Now lie in it, Joe. I don't know if you saw this. South Korea's President Yoon was caught on a hot mic. Joe Biden Joe Biden was talking about all the money that he's going to hand out, all of our money that he's going to hand out, and included another $6 billion in UN aid. Our money, $6 billion UN. And President Yoon called the United States Congress effers, if you know what I mean. Effers who could humiliate Biden if they don't pass this. Hey, Yoon, it's not going to really embarrass, well, maybe to you people there at the UN. You got your hand out all the time. This coming from South Korea. Guys, you do realize we defend your country. We've been there for how long now? Again, I still can't get my arms around why they can't take care of this on their own. But anyway, he's not off. Most of the members of Congress are effers. This weekend, I got to go over this. Republicans have got something. They got a plan. I went to the website. It is lengthy. It's going to take me some time to get through this stuff. Commitment to America. Republicans got a commitment to America. So we're going to go through piece by piece by piece and take a look at it. And we'll go over it on Monday after I'm able to review. Real quick before we go today, Letitia James versus the Trump family was an editorial today. It was basically an echo of what we said yesterday here on the program. Why is this important to the district attorney in New York? And they make the same point that I made. They said common wisdom says that on a good day, state attorneys generals do 70% politics and 30% law. Probably even more skewed towards politics. Funny thing, and I even mentioned this yesterday, they talk about in the article, all of the money that Donald Trump borrowed based upon the assets that he put up, he paid back all the loans. The banks made money. So I'm like, what exactly are you trying to do with this? I don't understand the point. I really don't. It's really kind of silly. Again, but it's people trying to win favor, trying to gain positions of power. Not anything about justice or the law. Anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll see you.